Senator Botticelli's priceless masterpiece, The Birth of Venus, was attacked and virtually destroyed yesterday afternoon by a hooded armed man with a handgun who opened fire on the painting while screaming, "Cursed is the ground for thy sake." Before he was finally overcome by 3 guards and numerous bystanders, the heavily built assailant pumped more than 18 bullets into the nude Venus figure, literally shooting her off the face of the canvas. The acting director of the Uffizi Gallery, which houses the masterpiece, said in an interview last night that it was the most violent attack ever made against a Renaissance painting. Restoration will be impossible.
It's against museum regulations to photograph the artwork.
You're kidding!
It is against museum regulations to photograph the artwork.
Well, thanks a lot for waiting to tell me until I was all set
The
up.
attendant downstairs is supposed to see that all photographic equipment is left in the check room.
Too much.
That includes tripods, cameras.
I don't believe it. You wait until I'm all set up, camera attached, f-stop set.
I've seen the attendant downstairs refuse visitors admittance who were just carrying film.
And when all of that is done, then you tell me it's against museum regulations to photograph the artworks.
Not just film either, but radios and tape recorders.
Where do I see you get permission?
I've seen the attendant downstairs stop people who had bulging pockets.
The head of public relations? The administrative assistant?
The public has no respect for place anymore.
The curator? The chairman of the
They
board?
wear tennis shorts to church, they drink soda at the opera, they bring flash cameras to museums.
The cinematic representative? The acting president for the exhibition? The liaison for public information? You have an interesting profile.
I've caught men exposing their genitals in this room.
Good cheekbones.
Certain shows inspire that.
Strong chin.
19th century French Academy nudes encourage flashing.
Oh.
You'd be surprised. The shortest men have the most swollen genitals.
Nice.
There don't even have to be women in the room in order for these shorter men to expose their swollen genitals.
Come on, give me a hint. Do I speak to the curatorial staff or the administrative staff?
Few of the women expose themselves.
Nice. Very nice.
Although I have seen a few of the younger girls lift their skirts and drop their pants.
Please, who do I see to get permission to photograph the artwork?
Where did the colonial quilts and weather vanes go? The colonial quilts and weather vanes are in this room right over there.
The colonial quilts and weather vanes are on the 3rd floor, ma'am.
The 3rd floor.
3rd floor.
Are you sure?
Yeah, colonial quilts and weather vanes are on the 3rd floor.
I could have sworn they were on this floor.
The director.
What?
It's the director who gets permission to photograph the art.
The director?
The director.
It just never occurred to me. The
The
director?
director.
The director? Son of a bitch.
Main floor to the left check. Still don't know how we got in here with all that stuff. Raoul is usually very tough on the topic.
Did you hear what happened last night? Well, you know what? Someone shot him. I heard it on the radio this morning. Hooded man pumped 18 bullets into the Venus figure after you beat him. I've never heard of anyone shooting people. You're right. They usually attack them with knives or axes. Something so alienated about shooting or painting. And then there was the guy who wrote slogans all over granite fill with a can of spray paint. That's right, spray paint. Red spray paint, and he misspelled everything, remember? Harold Blakey, guys. You're going to love him. You know, his parents are deaf mutes. Okay. Both of them. Profoundly deaf. Can you imagine what it must have been like growing up with parents who couldn't hear you? I mean, when would you realize it was their affliction and not yours? How could a baby realize there was anything unusual about his parents? Since he never heard them utter a word, he must have assumed he couldn't speak either. He could hear his own little baby sounds, of course, but he had no idea what they were. When he cried, no one heard him. Well, maybe he never did cry. Of course he cried. All babies cry, even deaf babies. He assumed he couldn't speak either? Well, don't forget his parents could always see him cry. Sooner or later, he must have realized that in order to get their attention, he didn't really have to cry. All he had to do was go through the motions. If a deaf mute baby had hearing parents, then they couldn't hear him cry either. Go through the motions? The deaf aren't necessarily mute, you know. Some of them can make some sort of residual sound. When he cried, no one heard him. Oh. But that's not the case with Alexander Stowe's parents. They are consigned to absolute and lifelong silence. Oh my God! When you look at that, it's incredible. When Stowe finally realized that his meandering attempts at speech fell on deaf ears, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Please don't handle the art.
It's fantastic.
Don't handle the art.
Oh, I'm sorry. Imagine thinking of making a clothesline with the bodies left inside the clothes. Yeah. It's a reality grounded in illusion. This is the first time I've ever been in this museum. There's even a little kid wearing a t-shirt.
Don't touch.
I'm not touching, for Christ's sakes. I'm just looking. I've lived in the city my whole life, and this is the first time I've ever been in this museum. It's our bodies that give our clothes meaning. Just without our clothes, we're... You know, you can always tell the quality of a museum by the view out the windows. Do you see this? He even left out a basket of clothespins.
Please don't handle the basket of clothes, please.
If you're not supposed to handle a basket of clothespins, how come the artist put them there? Well, the Tate Gallery is just about the shittiest view of any museum I've ever seen. He put them there so we would touch them. View from the Delgado wasn't so hot either. He chose painting as his voice. Look at his early sketches, the drawings he did of his toys when he was only 3. Can you believe this technique? Look at this handling of perspective. The image of people being laundered, washed, soaking wet, pinned up on the clothesline of light to dry out. If I designed a museum, there'd be no artwork on display, just windows. The object of the study would be nature itself, as seen through many different types of windows. There'd be elevated windows, and drop windows, stained glass windows, bricked up windows, broken windows, open windows, all looking out at exactly the same thing. I don't know which ones I like more, his landscapes or his seascape. And then there'd be windows that weren't really windows at all, but paintings of windows.
Excuse me. Where would I find the colonial quilts and weather vanes?
Colonial quilts and weather vanes are on the 3rd floor.
Colonial quilts and weather vanes.
Colonial quilts and weather vanes are on the 3rd floor.
I was told they were on this floor.
The broken silence is on this floor.
What?
I said the broken silence is on this floor.
Broken what?
Silence!
Broken quilt.
Colonial quilts and weather vanes is on the 3rd floor.
I got permission from the director.
Colonial quilts and weather vanes is on the 3rd floor.
I got permission from the director. You can see it. He signed it. Broke in silence? He was very nice about it. Well, he took my tripod, but he invited me back to the next show.
This is the last day of the show.
Thank you very much. I will. I know it's the last day of the show. That's why I'm here.
Just as sound and speech were irrelevant to him, so line and form became irrelevant. Oh, it makes you wonder where he'll go from here.
It's against the museum regulations to photograph the artwork without permission from the building.
Do you know what this makes me want to do? It makes me want to grab some of these clothespins and pin myself right in there alongside the others who I want to be laundered. I want to try. Only try, yeah.
We've had quite enough. I'm going to have to ask you to
Oh
leave.
no, they look so at peace. Let me give it a stop.
Enough, so move it along.
Oh no, I want to join them. I want to feel blessed. I want to feel the sun in my face. Then at some point, the structure of the museum would just end. And everyone would suddenly be outside in the view. They'd actually become the view, the objects on display. You'll stand in line and pay admission to see yourself. And then the guards would be hired to watch the people watching each other. Oh my God. I gotta write this down. His parents must be so proud of him. So very proud.
Yo, do you know where Pure Computer and Hope Rugs is?
You mean colonial quilts and weather vans?
Pure Computer and Hope Rugs.
We don't have Pure Computer or Hope Rugs on display here. Only colonial quilts and weather vans.
Typical. Well, that's typical.
Bruce said the show was shit. Bruce says everything is shit.
Well, Bruce said this show was especially shit. Meld and a meld.
Pretentious, useless space. Wasn't my idea. Ad Reinhardt was doing those in glass 20 years ago. I would never in a million years. And he's grinded them in blue before you were even born. Sorry, my taste is more for the sensual realism of it. It's pure Rauschenberg, but without the emotion.
Wait a minute, Rauschenberg.
Willard, I love him too, but this
Rauschenberg is a giant.
Rauschenberg is the giant. I like Siegel better.
You do?
Don't you?
I thought you said Siegel was shallow.
I've never said Siegel was shallow, just a bit muted for my taste.
Well, what about Dwayne Hanson?
Hanson is divine.
Hanson is insane. But, of course, my all-time favorite is
Klaus Oldenburg, I know. Wet dream left out to dry, 1985. On loan from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art.
Harold? Blakey? Guys? Hello? Harold? Guys?
Isn't it terribly loud in here? I can't see a thing.
Oh no, look at that. He left a real basket of clothespins under an imaginary clothesline. Now that's what I call panache.
Pastiche.
Pastiche.
Real clothespins under an imaginary clothesline.
Willard, pastiche is collage. I mean panache. Dash.
Robert, the word is panacea.
Panacea.
No, wait, paradigm.
Pastiche.
Placebo.
Paradigm.
Please don't handle the basket of clothespins.
Sorry. Did you read that the Metropolitan Museum of Art is only going to be open 4 days a week?
Metropolitan? The museum doesn't have enough money to pay its force of 227 security guards.
The Metropolitan has 227 security guards?
The Metropolitan had 227 security guards. They just let 82 go.
I had no idea the Metropolitan had 227 security guards.
They just let 82 go.
They had 50 or 60 guards, but 227?
All the museums are being forced to cut back.
227 security guards is a lot of people.
They don't have enough money to meet operating costs anymore.
Robert, 227 security guards is a crowd.
They're all closing down a few days during the week.
Jesus.
That's right, Jesus. Pretty soon there won't be any fucking culture left.
Hello. Where are the museum engagement calendars sold?
The museum gift shop on the main floor, to the left of the check room.
Thank you so much.
Did you hear what happened to Bonnie Tully's Venus this morning?
No, what?
Shot and killed with a gun. Shot and killed. Shot right off the face of the canvas. Son of a bitch.
Do you also have reproductions of ancient Egyptian jewelry in the museum gift shop?
Books, catalogs, foreign publications, postcards, blown glass,
Blown glass?
ceramic reproductions, computer figurines, table linens, needle-pointed, dried flowers, blood-snake, earrings, solid gold cufflinks, rare spices, silver
You're
labels.
so helpful.
Museum gift shop, main floor, to the left of the check room.
Glorious. The show was wonderful. Gloria Wood. The opening with Misha. I saw Misha last week. Really? He was wearing his fur cape. I love that cape. Did he have on his linen vest with it?
The linen vest and an incredible raw silk shirt.
What color? What color?
Bright.
Perfect.
And a sweet
He
cap.
was wearing his free cap,
Yes.
but not his head boots.
Not his tan boots. His black ones.
What I wouldn't give for that linen vest of his.
Well, you'd have to give a great deal, believe me.
You see that vest with like a linen slacks?
Barbara, they don't make linen like that anymore.
With my costume skirt.
There's a worldwide shortage of natural fibers. We can quite simply use them all up.
And it's reversible too on the inside. It's a lightweight thin wool.
Drained them.
Reversed, I could wear it in practically anything.
Barbara, within the next few years, all of our fabrics will be synthetic.
Synthetic? Did you just say synthetic, Barbara?
Yes, Barbara, I just said synthetic. They hardly grow in cotton stuff anymore. It's just too expensive to harvest.
Barbara, I can't wear synthetics.
Who can, Barbara? Who can?
Last week, I bought a slip I was told was pure silk. Only to be labeled 2 days later and press-on. Do you know what press-on does to my skin?
Chinese silkworms are as scarce as hens.
It coats it with a thin layer of petroleum.
And as for wool, because the cost of feeding the sheep has skyrocketed, the sheep farmers are going bankrupt. Soon there will be no more wool, cashmere, or angora.
Barbara, I've got a rash, a white rash all over my body.
From now on, it's the man-made substitutes. Orlon acrylic, lycra spandex, Kiana nylon, Bordeaux polyester, and Celanese arnyl triacetates.
Oh, go away, Barbara. I've tried everything. I'm desperate.
As the cost of museums keeps rising, the price of admission is bound to go up. Museums officials are now talking about $10 as a fixed single admission fee.
$10 to get into the Metropolitan? It's preposterous.
$10 to get into the Metropolitan will be a bargain, Willard. By the end of the decade, it will be $25. The only way people will be able to afford visiting museums in the future will be in chartered groups.
Chartered groups? Robert, I go to the Met by myself, or I don't go at all.
The $50 budget charter tour will include admission into the Metropolitan, the Modern, and the Whitman.
I would pay $50 to avoid a budget charter tour.
The Imperial charter tour will include those three, and for $25 more, admission into the Guggenheim, the Cooper Hewitt, and the Haven Planetarium.
Stop.
And
Stop!
don't you think the prize galleries aren't hurting either?
I have to be alone with the things I love.
The day will come when you'll have to use MasterCharge to get into Casey and Costello.
More collection of Renaissance jewels, enamel cups.
Write checks for admittance into second-story Soho galleries.
Do you know the Morgan collection I've met? Have you ever seen the Ross
Pay
Piglet?
cash to museum's officials.
Robert, when I stand before that cup, I can't stand two people within 10 feet of me.
This is the first time I've ever had a white rash.
The last time I was there was a swarm of screaming children. Look!
Did you see that?
I broke out this sweat.
I think I'm on fire.
It's called agoraphobia.
It keeps getting
I'm
worse.
told it's incurable.
Barbara, it's spreading.
If the handwriting is on the wall,
Our troubles have just begun.
we could lose everything. Exactly. We're just beginning to wake up.
And when we finally do, it'll be too late.
Of course, this is not the first time.
No, we've been through it before.
This is the first time I've ever had a white rash.
I just hope we don't retain what's most precious to us.
We tried so hard.
Sacrificed so much.
Given our all.
Gone more than halfway.
Stinted on nothing.
Held out for the best.
What a fair fight.
And stuck to our guns.
He's right.
You said it.
Well, of course.
Culture as we
It's
know it
on the way out.
On the way out is disappearing round the bend.
This is the last day of the show.
Not only will $20 stand to the Metropolitan, but because of the shortage of guards, certain galleries will be roped off on odd and even days of the month. Etruscan bronzes will be on view even days from noon till 1. Renaissance stringed instruments, odd days from 2 to 3. Sooner or later, the less popular exhibits will close altogether. Medieval helmets, medieval glazed bricks. Eventually, entire periods and forms of art will be lost completely as the public is denied access. One by one, all the treasures of Western civilization will be dismantled, put into storage, lowered into fiberglass crates to be grouped and cataloged by art historians wearing thick, lint-free asbestos gloves. We will never again stand face to face with an original painting or sculpture. And if there is no place where that painting or sculpture can be viewed, the artist is bound to ask, who am I doing it for and why am I doing it? The impulse to create will be shattered. Willard, this may be our last day in the presence of live art.
Wait a minute. Yesterday I was standing 1 foot away from probably the most live and stunning object of art made by men in the last 400 years, Robert. Have you ever studied Ross Piglet's stuff? It's a fucking dazzler. It's this incredible scalloped seashell which rests on the back of an enameled dragon, which rests on the back of an enameled turtle. It's carved out of solid gold and is no more than 10 inches high and 8 inches across. Instead of a handle, a winged sphinx perches on the rim of the cup. A gigantic Baroque pearl hanging between her golden breasts. I mean, the workmanship, the detail, the fantasy. Tiny seed pearl earrings dangle from her ears. And instead of the traditional legs and paws of a lion, she has flippers. Indigo blue flippers etched and enameled. You can count each iridescent scale.
Well, you'd better get ready to kiss it goodbye because it won't be there. The museums are closing.
Robert, what on earth are you talking
The
about?
museums are shutting down.
Robert, no museums are shutting down.
Willard, we've got to do something. Shh.
Harold? Lakey? Guys? Liz?
Wow.
Matt?
This is the last day of our group showing, The Broken Silence. And here we have the work of the extraordinary young post-conceptual
green, sepia, purple, rose, turquoise, umber, mauve, lavender, cobalt, magenta, saffron.
The difference between historic Dada and the current fundamentalist version lies within the treatment of the spectator. Instead of goading you into indignation at the desecration of art, the new Dada converts you into an aesthete. The bleak surfaces and mountain shapes presented to you as objects wrapped in their own being compel you to embrace professional sensitivity to contrasted tone, light, and dimension. The more work is purged of inessentials, the closer the scrutiny required to see it, and the more precious the sensibility required to respond to it. You were just wonderful, really wonderful. Oh. You know, I've never heard such anything so beautiful, so informative, so inspiring, so apt.
It's against museum regulations to sketch the artwork.
I can't sketch without permission from the director.
I didn't tell you it was the director who gives permission to sketch. How did you know that it was the director who gives the permission to sketch?
Because I have sketching permission from the director.
You have sketching permission from the director. I've never even seen sketching permission from the director.
I'm the director's daughter.
Oh. The director's daughter.
The sketching director's daughter.
Sketching director's daughter. All
The
right.
fetching sketching director's daughter.
Willard, now's the time to make our move. See that basket of clothespins over there? I'm going to steal 1 dozen of them.
The fetching, letching, fetching, sketching director's daughter.
Mama, please, Mama, please. What's going on over here? Look, I told you, you're not to touch the clothespins. They're a part of the sculpture.
For your information, this is not a sculpture, it's a construction. So embarrassing.
I don't care what you call it, mister. Put those clothespins back.
Are you accusing me of theft?
All I said was put the clothespins back.
I'll have you know this is the first time a museum security guard has ever raised his voice to me. The poor man is just doing his job. And furthermore, I've been to every major art museum across the country. The Hirshhorn, the Carnegie, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the
All
Walker
back.
Arts Center.
Put them all back.
Furthermore, this is just about the worst show I've ever seen. Real stinker. I'd be embarrassed to work here.
Each one of those pins is a valuable piece of art.
If you touch me, I'm reporting you to the director of the museum.
Main floor to the left of the check room.
This show was said Bruce is an asshole.
This is the beginning. Just the beginning.
Barbara, I want one. They are lovely. This one. It would be perfect in my bedroom. That's the one for your bedroom, Barbara. This is more for your family room. Are you crazy, Barbara? That'd be terrible in my family room. Well, it would be heaven in my family room. Your family room and my family room are two very different places. That's the one for your bedroom, Barbara. You mean that's the one for your bedroom, Barbara? No. That's the one for my bedroom, and this is the one for your family room. Well, what about my bedroom? Barbara, these aren't easy decisions. Come on, we've got to get out of here. The cafeteria is probably jammed. We'll be in line forever. What are you going to order? Oh, I don't know. I feel like a quiche. You're in the mood for a salad. Chicken salads are excellent. Yes, I know. Tarragon and dill dressing. Ah.
highly erotic.
What makes Adams's work of unusual contemporary relevance, however, is his attitude towards gratuitous uses and the processes he employs.
Yeah, clocks, fans, rope.
Rather than imposing his will on material in order to force it to appear in form, Adamson obeys the inherent capabilities of
Put that statue down, miss. Shush, everyone. Calm down. Take it easy.
Lady, can I just look at it for a minute?
Tink, what's happened to you?
I'll give it right back. It's just so beautiful.
You better not do it. Go ahead and smash the ugly thing.
We're friends with the artist, old friends. He is such a wonderful conversation.
Elsa Brock invited me to spend the day with her in the country. Looking for her things. Bones, wings.
What thing?
All of her materials are best materials.
I've never seen anything like this.
She'll be here later with Hilton. He finds all her objects in Connecticut State Park. At least once a month, she gets on a Greyhound bus carrying 2 blue suitcases filled with soft polyester bagging for wrapping her objects in, and scours one of Connecticut State Park. The last time, she invited me to go with her. I said I'd bring along an extra suitcase and a picnic lunch. We met at Port Authority bus terminal. It was so odd, going with Elsie to look for something. I mean, whenever you see her in her studio, her hands are always full, molding something, gluing something. Her studio is bursting with the exotic. Bird beaks, fish skeletons, turkey down, fox claws.
I'm Elsie's oldest friend. I've known her for years.
So I just assumed she always had these things. That they were a part of her. Not something separate she had to seek out. So it was odd meeting her at Port Authority carrying those 2 blue suitcases stuffed with polyester bags.
She's invited me on millions of expeditions.
Of course, I don't remember the name of the park we visited. But Elsie seemed to know her way around, and before I knew it, we were walking through deep woods. Deep woods is the best place to find small animal skeletons, she told me. As I looked up at the trees in the sky, she bent close to the ground, scooping her hands through the underbrush like some human net. In the first hour, she found a bat skeleton, several raccoon skulls, a fresh rabbit carcass, patches of fur.
24, you know, and so beautiful.
At one moment, she was crouched out of view. The next, she was holding fragile white bones up to the sun, exclaiming over their curves. She has this beautiful blonde hair. It's as thick as rope and falls down her back in golden cascades. After a while, she filled both her suitcases and asked if she could borrow mine. We stopped for lunch, and she gave me this long speech about how calcium is formed in the bones of vegetarian animals.
And her eyes are this deep green. You would love her. I mean, she...
After a while, my suitcase was filled too, and it was starting to get dark. I suggested we walk back along a different route, but she said no, she couldn't stop yet.
Men die over her!
It was then that I noticed something strange. Well, I didn't notice it, I heard it, because it was getting too dark to see. As she was combing the underbrush, I heard this soft kind of licking noise. This slight kind of slurping. Like eating. But not chewing and swallowing, just licking and tasting. Is that you, Elsie? I asked her. But she never answered. And it was such a light, muffled sound, she might have been sucking on a mint. I told her I really thought we should leave before it got any darker and we got lost. And this time, with real anger in her voice, she said no. And then the nibbling, or kissing, or whatever it was, got louder. We reached a clearing. The trees dropped away. The moon shone down on Elsie's bent form as clear as day, and then I saw. She was holding one of the little animal skeletons up to her mouth. And was licking it. Nibbling on it. Running her tongue over it. I screamed. She dropped the little thing and turned white. The next thing I knew, she was hitting me with
You mean Jack Adamson, not Adam Johnson.
Jack Jackson?
Jack Adamson.
I thought his name was Adam Johnson.
Jack?
Adamson?
Jack Adams.
Adam Adamson.
No, Jack.
Jack?
Jack Adamson.
Artists always have such tricky names.
His parents are deaf, I believe.
She's not supposed to be doing that.
You cannot photograph the artwork without permission from the director.
I have permission
See.
from the director.
Oh.
Daddy.
She's going to get into trouble.
Daddy's the director.
You're the director's daughter, huh? Your sister's here too.
God, I love Adam Johnson's work.
Come on, Giorgio, I'm bored. Let's look at something else. I'm tired of this. Come on, let's go to another floor. Giorgio?
It's the relationship of the figure to the support, and the consequent affirmation of the picture plane, which makes it difficult to penetrate the atmospheric space behind it.
I found it! I found it! The holy word of Babylon raged through the night! I found the switch! I found it! No! It's a wave! Pressed it!
Stunning Renaissance dance. It's the urban vision of a futurist.
And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone around about them. She challenged me. Find it on the last day.
It's a self-portrait.
No!
It's Statue of Liberty. It's sea monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Great wall of China.
It's my camera.
It's better than cats.
It was worth it! It was all worth it. Everything.
The museum had no idea.
Of course, there are precedents for her.
I'll never be the same.
She must have snuck in after the installation of the show and set this whole thing up, because none of the security force was told.
She is vindicated through me! Through me.
Busy? You are, look. Busy.
This is the last day of my show.
Ah, close it. Busy? I've been swamped.
Colonial quilts and weather vanes are slow. Only 3 people all morning.
I must have sold $150 worth of postcards in the last hour.
My show still has 2 more weeks. I don't know how I'm gonna make it. It's so slow.
Engagement calendars aren't doing very well, but they just can't get enough postcards.
Very slow.
The director has given 2 photographers permission to photograph the artwork. 2? And a sketcher.
Yes.
Where are the letters?
Hey, you're busy this morning? I'm swamped.
Very slow. Only 3 people all morning. Hey, you look pretty busy.
This is the last day of my show.
Ah, I haven't been busy like this since my American Abstract show last spring.
They keep stealing my clothespins.
Say, I'm just about sold out of your Today's a good day.
Sunday's pleasant. I just wish that they would stop stealing my clothespins.
Say, did you hear the radio this morning?
Those European museums have shit for security. You maniacs can get away with anything in a European museum. Look what happened to Michelangelo's theater, huh?
And that Rembrandt back here, slashed with a bread knife.
That's right. It never happened here.
American security is the best.
You can't beat that American security.
Number one. That's right. We're number one on security.
American museums have the tightest security of any museum in the whole fucking world. The people are nuts on it over there. Violent bastards. An American would never shoot a painting.
No way. Well, they know they can get away with it over there, so it just encourages them to be violent. Right. That's right.
I mean, the worst that happens over here is some nut with a can of spray paint washes right off.
Everyone's nuts these days.
Crazy bastards.
Yeah.
They keep stealing my clothespins.
Hey. Did you hear what the guy kept screaming? It's a shot at the painting. Cursed is the ground for thy sake.
Cursed is the ground for thy sake.
Yeah, crazy bastards.
It's what Adam said to Eve after she ate the apple.
Jesus.
Crazy bastards.
Crazy fuckers always yell out something religious when they attack artwork.
You wouldn't catch me working over there for murder.
They're all nuts on religion over there.
Crazy bastards.
Pumped 18 bullets into the damn painting before he was restrained. 18 bullets.
Yeah, all right. I got our assignments for lunch hour. It's not that bad. Since Frank and Damien were let go last week, you'll be needed in the register at the gift shop so that he can relieve Otto in the members' lounge. You go to the members' lounge where I come from in the check room since no one's been inclined retrospective all week. Colonial Social Enemies is closed for the rest of the day.
Don't you think someone should stay here? This is the last day of the show.
He'll be back in a half hour. I just need you to cover for him in the gift shop so that he can relieve Otto.
Well, I don't think that it's a good idea to leave this room unattended.
Orders.
You know what closings are like. Everybody takes things.
You mean like, clothespins?
Yes, closings. I've got enough of them. They're the old-fashioned ones with the round heads.
Oh, you mean the ones without the springs in the middle? Oh, Jesus, we used to have those.
You know, I thought my American abstract show was busy, but I gotta hand it to you. Yours is busier.
What?
Hey, come on, we gotta get out of here quietly so no one knows. Shh. Just speak. No, gift shop is not as
It's
bad
Jack
as
My God, the artist!
Georgia.
I thought he looked familiar.
Jack Adamson.
Just like it says poetry. Jack Adamson. Adamson.
Jack Adamson was born October 30th, 1951, in Santa Rosa, California. He studied at the Leonardo da Vinci School and had his first one-man show at the Gillespie Gallery, San Francisco, in 1962. An exhibition of animal heads in cement, which in their open framework and pitted surfaces were a powerful representation of the prevailing modern tradition of neat forms, clean surfaces, and truth to material. Adamson lived in Paris from 1962 through 1968, where he exhibited at a group show in the Gallery Met, visited Giacometti's studio, and was exposed to and impressed by cast-off objects assembled according to an indisputably human framework. Since 1978, Adams's sculpture, although still governed by the principles of assemblage, comprise more simply structured, monumental components incorporated with technological precision into quite different icons of modernity.
I thought I was gonna die. Just sink down to the floor, shut my eyes, and quietly die. Did you see those hands?
That was pure. Once in a lifetime.
His arms, my God, the tenderness in his arms. What, you're not supposed to touch anything once it's been installed, are you?
These pieces sell for over $200,000. 200,000.
Georgia, let's take some as remembrance. Adamson. One of the clothespins. Something he touched. Something he touched. Something he touched.
Clothespin.
A clothespin.
Oh, cookie!
What's been going on in here? The coastline. It's been destroyed. Why don't you this? Do you know who did this? Can you tell me who did